Trump this week saying the quiet part out loud.
As you all know, Chicago's a killing field right now. And they don't acknowledge it. And they say, we don't need him. Freedom, freedom. He's a dictator. He's a dictator. A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense and I'm a smart person.
It's not the first time he said it. This was December 2023, the year before he got reelected.
You are promising America tonight you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
Except
Look,
for?
he's going crazy. Except for day one.
Meaning?
I want to close the border and I want to drill.
That's not retribution.
I'm gonna be, you know, he keeps, we love this guy. He says, you're not gonna be a dictator, are you? I said, no, other than day one. We're closing the border and we're drilling. After that, I'm not a dictator, okay?
He said that in 2023. After that, I'm not a dictator, just that one day. Except that here in August 2025, he brought it up again. This is a real photograph of DC this week, looking more like North Korea than the United States of America, with Trump's big face hanging on this big banner and troops patrolling the streets. And Trump has amplifiers. Listen to Tucker Carlson last week.
It does seem like we're moving toward dictatorship. And I'm not pointing at any one political leader or party even. I think the Democrats are much more eager for dictatorship than the Republicans generally, but I'm not even making that point. I'm just saying people's faith in democracy, whatever that is, has been badly shaken. And I just don't think you can govern in the way that our government currently governs forever. Do you think that's inevitable?
Yeah, I do.
It was one of those Trump lines that starts with a lot of people are saying, you know, where he's testing the waters, maybe softening the ground, kind of joking, asserting that a lot of people are saying something when it's really his idea, maybe seeing how far he can take it. I'm thinking back to a lot of people are saying that Obama's birth certificate isn't real. A lot of people are saying that the 2020 election was the most corrupt in American history. Bernie Sanders tweeted in response, actually, Mr. Trump, a lot of people say that millions of Americans fought and died to defeat dictators. Ask anybody, we'd rather be a free country. He's right, but it makes me think we're about 80 years out from the end of World War II. That shared experience of fighting fascism in Europe together as a nation is largely gone from our collective memory today. A lot of people are not necessarily saying it, but are people feeling it? I think Trump is getting at something real here. The critical mass of the voting public has now elected him twice over the course of a decade. After that press conference, Aaron Blake with CNN wrote this piece. Trump says many people might want a dictator. Yes, many of his people. He shares some polling. When you dig a little deeper, you'll find a significant number of Republicans endorsing that kind of power. 44% of Republicans said the courts shouldn't even be allowed to review Trump's policies. 28% of Republicans said a president should be able to ignore Congress or the Supreme Court when those institutions hold our country back. 36% of Republicans said they wouldn't be at all bothered if Trump were to suspend some laws and constitutional provisions to go after political enemies. 28% of Republicans said the country needed a president who was willing to break some rules and laws to set things right. 24% said, back ahead of the 2024 election, that if Trump lost, he should do whatever it takes to take power. Here's a crazy headline from back in 2014. 2014, 1 in 6 Americans said army rule would be good or very good thing. That marks a significant increase from 1995, when just 1 in 16 reported having a favorable opinion of the autocratic style of government. So Trump has exploited and accelerated the sentiment, but clearly it was already there and probably something that helped lead to his first election. I bet if you asked the majority of diehard Trump supporters, MAGA folks, directly if they want to live in a dictatorship, they'd say no. I don't know if anyone's asked that, but if your daily life is not going the way you want it to, and all the people who've promised to fix your problems over the years have not fixed them, and then the guy comes along and says, I alone can fix it, well, you might put your faith in him. I'm mortified that that is what's happening, but I also in some ways get why this is happening. Chris Hayes wrote a book more than a decade ago called Twilight of the Elites, where he describes the American public's eroding trust in institutions because those institutions keep on failing them. Think back to that time, the Iraq War and Congress's declining approval rating, or the financial crisis of 2008 and how the big mortgage companies got bailed out, but regular homeowners didn't. If we're being honest, our systems of democracy with money in politics and gerrymandering, and even the way something like Congress and particularly the Senate is set up in light of the really tragic racial history of this country, how those institutions have been shaped, it's okay to admit that these are not very high functioning institutions. I've only made about 10 videos so far. If you've seen my earlier ones, you'll see I don't usually make a partisan argument. I do think that the Republican Party in the era of Trump has become an autocratic party, but I don't think that the Republican Party pre-Trump, or the Democratic Party for that matter, have done a really great job serving the American public in a way that boosts trust. In other words, that's why, in large part, I think we've arrived at this moment in history. People are upset at the way things are going, and no matter where they sit on the political spectrum, I don't really blame them. Stagnating wages, rising costs, declining trust in institutions. This is, for many, the reality of American life today. Here's my question for the Trump diehards. Your savior is 79 years old, and I don't know if you've seen his cankles and his hands these days, but he doesn't look in the best of health, whenever that is, at any point down the road. What happens when he's gone? When he tears down the freedom for every one of us, that's me and you, and yes, every one of us Americans, even if we disagree with each other. He tears down those freedoms to speak and protest, walk down the street, and live in peace, and then he's gone one day. And the next authoritarian comes into power, and all those protections are gone too. I know you'll miss Trump. Will you also miss those freedoms? Here's another piece in CNN by Zach Wolf in response to Trump's remarks. Here's what 21st century dictators do. Taking power from Congress, expecting help from the courts, installing loyalists, controlling information, imposing his will over the arts, rewriting history, purging top generals, targeting political enemies, and seeking advantage in the coming elections. And then he talks to an expert in authoritarianism, a political science professor at UCLA named Daniel Treisman. And I thought this was interesting. Modern dictators either seize power without election or having come to power democratically, like through an election, they then undermine electoral institutions so they are almost guaranteed to win, intimidating or co-opting the legislature, courts, media, and other power centers so they're not constrained by other actors. One of the co-authors of How Democracies Die, Stephen Levitsky, he described how it's going. This is back in March of this year. He and his co-author call it competitive authoritarianism. Aspiring autocrats acquire power through legitimate elections, then stack the deck in their favor by rewarding corrupt allies, seeking revenge on their enemies through lawsuits and harassment, and cowing mass media. This is about Trump, but it's really about all of us. More and more of us need to speak out against it, like this man at a town hall in Missouri.
I am pissed, and I'm pissed at you. I would appreciate you taking your father's U.S. Constitution book, read it, study it, make your own lines underneath it, and get Trump out of office. The man is a dictator. Now, I'm about ready to lose my farm. Do you know why? I'm sure you don't know why.
Lose your what, sir?
Farm.
Farm?
Yeah. You need to take your head out of Trump's ass and start doing your representation of us.